My name is Shraddha Kahar and I am from class 12th in Kanhan Valley School Dungaria, and today I am going to represent the chapter Sexual Reproduction in Flowering Plants. So, this is a fascinating organ of angiosperm known as a flower. This flower is a modified shoot and consists of four whorls. The first whorl is known as calyx, and the unit of calyx is sepal, which helps in the protection of the flower in the bud stage. Then the second whorl is known as the corolla. The unit of the corolla is the petal. The petals are generally colorful and enlarged to attract the insects for the pollination. And the third whorl is known as the androecium. The unit of the androecium is stamen. And the fourth whorl is the gynoecium, which is a female reproductive part, and the unit of the gynoecium is pistil or carpel. There are two types of organs. First are the accessory organs and the reproductive organs. The accessory organs are the calyx and the corolla, and the reproductive organs are the androecium and gynoecium, and this flower is basically stand upon the thalamus. Now, this is the structure of the stamen, which consists of an anther and a filament. This anther is the bilobed structure. And each lobe consists of two theca, and this long stalk is known as the filament, and the proximal end of the filament is this thalamus, and the distal end of this filament is the anther. This whole anther is consists of four theca, and inside the theca there is the pollen mother cell. This is the TA section of a mature anther, which consists of four layers, and inside these four layers there is MMC, microspore mother cell or pollen mother cell. The four layers are the epidermis, endothecium, middle layer and the tapetum. The outer three layers helps in the protection and the dehiscence of the anther, and this tapetum helps in the nourishment of the pollen grain, and the PMC further goes with the meiotic division and forms the pollen grain. This is the matured pollen grain. This is the structures of the pollen grain. Pollen grain basically consists of two layers, intine and exine. Exine is made up of sporopollenin. Sporopollenin is the very hard resistant material present on the earth, and this material cause no effect with any strongest alkali and any strongest acid or temperature and any pH, and because of this sporopollenin, the pollen grain can be kept as a preserved material in -196 degree Celsius. And this is the tablets and syrups of pollen, which is very rich in nutrients, and this is consumed by many of the athletes and the horse races to gain more power. And this is the internal structure of the pollen grain, which consists of two cells, the vegetative cell and the germinative cell. This is the vegetative cell, and in the cytoplasm of the vegetative cell there is the generative cell which floats. Now, this is the structure of the pistil or the carpel. This is the stigma, and this long stalk known as the style, and this is the ovary, and this all are stand upon the thalamus. Basically, carpel may be monocarpellary or a single carpel. If these carpels are joined together, this is known as the syncarpels, and if the carpels are free, so it is known as the apocarpus. And this is the structure of an ovule, which consists of a funicle, the funicle which joins the placenta to the ovule, and hilum. This is a junction between the funicle and the ovule. This is the micropylar end from which the pollen tube will enters in it, and these two integuments, it is the outer integument, it is the inner integument, and this is the nucellus in which there is a reserved food material is present, and this is the embryo sac, and this is the chalazal pole, which is opposite to the micropylar end. Now, the megaspore mother cell will divide meiotically and form the megaspore tetrad, in which the three will degenerate itself and one remains the functional. The functional will divide the mitotically and it form 1 to 2, 2 to 4, and then 4 to 8. And there, the 8 are the nuclear division. There are no formation of any cell wall. Then the 3 will go in the micropylar end and forms the filiform apparatus, and 3 will go in the chalazal end and forms the antipodal, and 2 will remain in the central, which is known as the 2 polar nuclei. In the filiform apparatus there is 1 egg cell and 2 synergid. Now, the pollination. The transfer of the pollen grain from the anther to stigma of flowers is known as the pollination. There are 3 types of pollination: autogamy, geitonogamy, and xenogamy. Autogamy is a type of self-pollination in which the pollen grain of the same flower land on the stigma of the same flower, and the self-pollination occurs. In this, there are 2 types of flowers, chasmogamous and clastrogamous. In the chasmogamous flowers, they are further open and autogamy takes place, and in the clastrogamous flowers, they are closed flower and autogamy takes place in it, and this is the example of autogamy. In the geitonogamy, the pollen grain of the same flower will land on the stigma of the different flower but of the same plant. So this is basically like a cross pollination, but genetically it is also a self pollination. And xenogamy in which the pollen of a different flower of the different plant will land on the stigma of the different flower of the different plant, in which the cross pollination occurs and plant exhibits in the genetic variation, and this is the example of xenogamy. Now, the agents of pollination. There are 2 types of agents of pollination: biotic and abiotic. Abiotic agents are also further divided in the 2 types, wind and water. Pollination by wind. Generally, the flowers that pollinated by the abiotic agents are small in size, colorless and odorless, and they don't need to produce any nectar, because they don't need to attract the insects for pollination. This is the example of wind pollination. This is the plant of corn cob, and the tassels of a corn cob is nothing but its style and stigma, which is open in the air to trap the pollen grain. And now, pollination by water. This is the example of the flower which get pollinates by the water. This is the example of Vallisneria, in which it needs to produce the enormous amount of pollen grain as compared to the ovules for the pollination, and the pollination takes place in it through the water currents. Now, the biotic pollination. This is the bee, which is the biotic pollinating agent. There are many biotic pollinating agents such as bees, moths, butterflies, etc. But the most dominating biotic agent is this bee, and the flower also provide any reward to the insects pollinating by them. Is basically the rewards of the flower are nectars and pollen grain, and the flower that need to pollinate by biotic agents are generally large, colorful and rich in nectar, and they produce very sweet fragrance. अरे चेंज करती क्या? Now, outbreeding devices. Outbreeding devices are the processes to discourage the self-pollination and encourage the cross-pollination. There are 4 ways of outbreeding devices. First is the non-synchronized stage, in which either the pollen or pistil will mature first. If the pollen will mature first, so if the pollen grain of the anther land on the stigma, so the stigma is still immature, so there is no self-pollination will occur in it. Second is the different position of the anther and the stigma. If the anther is below the stigma, so its pollen grain can't reach to the stigma and self-pollination will not occur in it. Third is the self-incompatibility, in which the pistil rejects the wrong type of pollen grain and accepts the compatible pollen grain. Fourth is the production of the unisexual flowers, in which the staminate flowers are different and the pistillate flowers are different, in which no self-pollination will occur, and the example of the unisexual flowers are papaya. Now, the pollen pistil interaction, in which firstly the pollen grain will land on the surface of the the pollen grain will land on the surface of the stigma. Then the process of recognition starts, in which the pistil recognize the pollen grain, either it is of compatible or incompatible, and this process is happening due to the dialogue between the chemical components of the pollen grain and stigma. And if the pollen grain is incompatible, so the stigma will reject to germinate its pollen tube in it. But if the pollen grain is compatible, so the stigma will allow the pollen grain to germinate its pollen tube through the tissue of stigma, and then the pollen tube will first enter in the style, and through style it will enter in the ovule from its micropylar end. Now, the artificial hybridization, in which we do the artificial hybridization to for the good crop yield, in which we do different events. First, if this is a bisexual flower, so we do the process of emasculation, in which we cut out the anther of the flower and we bagged the pistil of the flower for doing the cross pollination of it with the desired pollen grain. Then when the pistil becomes mature, we rebagged it and do its cross pollination with the desired pollen grain to get the good crop, and this is known as the artificial fertilization. Hybridization. Now, the process of double fertilization. One of this is the male gametes of the pollen grain. One of the male gamete will go one of the male gamete will fuses with this egg cell and forms the diploid zygote, and this process is known as the syngamy. And the other male gamete will fuses with this two polar nuclei and made the primary endosperm nucleus, PEN, and this process is known as the triple fusion. And this process together, the syngamy and the triple fusion, is known as the double fertilization. Now, the post-fertilization structures and events. First is the formation of endosperm. The formation of endosperm. In the formation of endosperm, this primary endosperm nucleus will go for the free nuclear division. The example of the free nuclear division is the coconut water, and then after the free nuclear division it will form the primary endosperm cell, and the example of the primary endosperm cell is the white kernel of the coconut. Now the formation of the embryo. For the formation of the embryo, the zygote will further divide into this stage and this globular stage, then heart-shaped embryo, and then it becomes the fully mature embryo, which contains the two cotyledon, one radicle which further grow up to the root system, and one plumule which further develops the shoot system. Then the seed. Seed. This is a typical dicot seed, in which this is the embryonal axis of it. There is the epicotyle, and these two are the cotyledon of it. This plumule which further grow up and form the shoot system. This cylindrical part is known as the hypocotyle, which further goes down and becomes the radicle, and this root cap protects the radicle, and these further develop into the root system. This is the LS of an embryo of grass. Basically this is the monocot. In this monocot, this is the embryonal axis in it, and this is the epicotyle, and this is the scutellum. This is the one cotyledon of the monocot. There is the two cotyledon, but there is the single cotyledon which is known as the scutellum. And this is the coleoptile. This is the plumule, but this is a coleoptile which further grows to the root system. This is the epiblast, and this part of it is known as the hypocotyle, which further goes down to make the radicle and root cap. This grows the root system and this radicle and root cap together, known as the coleorhiza. This is also the monocot seed. This is the seed coat, which is made up of the integuments. This is a single cotyledon. This is the shoot apical meristem, which further make the shoot system. This is the hypocotyle root axis, and this is the root tip, and this is the remained endosperm. This is an apple, and this is a false fruit because it is made up of a thalamus. So this is a false fruit, and this is the seed inside it, but a true fruit is made up of ovary. Now the apomixis and polyembryony. Apomixis is the formation of the seed without any fertilization. And the polyembryony, in which the diploid egg cell further makes the fruit without any more division, and in which it consists of more than one embryo in it, is known as the polyembryony. And the example of the polyembryony is the citrus and the mango. Now the hybrid varieties. The hybrid varieties are very costly for the farmer, because it has to be produced every year, and if the seeds from the hybrid variety will show again, so it will segregate itself, and here the apomixis is useful in the hybrid varieties crops, because due to apomixis it will not segregate. Thank you.